Hi all, welcome to the 10th part in the series on how to create your own text editor in Go programming language. So in this video, we're supposed to be covering two topics, so copy paste and undo redo. So copy paste is going to be line oriented, and when it comes to sort of a bulk copy pasting, this would be resolved by using the GNU set command, but this is going to be covered in the later tutorials. And as for undo redo, so I've been thinking about the proper design for this, so I don't really want to do the infinite undo redo because that sort of takes time, effort, and I just don't quite really need it. And the way I would like to use undo redo is the following. So let's say you have an intention to make some changes within the source file. So you just want to try something. So you can just push the current state of the text buffer to the undo buffer, then do something, do your experiment, and then you see like, okay, something goes wrong. So you just pull it back, and that's the way to go. So without further ado, let's actually implement a few functions now to provide this exact functionality. So I scroll down up until insert line. So here I want to define the function called copy line. So say func copy line, and creating the copy line variable and assigning this to, so I want to make some memory here, the type of slice of rows, which is the type of the text buffer row, and the length of the text buffer indexed by the current row. So literally we allocating some memory for the current text buffer row, and then we want to populate the copy line by saying copy and copy line and whatever available within the text buffer indexed by the current row. So pretty simple and straightforward here. And finally, we want to say that the copy buffer is equal to the copy line. So you remember that the copy buffer, this one is just the type of slice of rows. So this is the instance of a single text buffer row. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, now the next thing is to cut line. So well, let's actually right quit, and I want to make sure that this works. So build.show and ego.go. So if I just say okay, I didn't yet call it, so nothing is going to happen. But at least it compiles. So let's drop down to here. So we want to, so this is the handle key press, the process key press, the function here. So I want to add a new case. So by pressing C, I want to copy line. And let's just add a few more cases. So case P is going to be equal to paste line. We now quickly draft all of those functions. Now the case D, this is D, this is going to be cut line or delete line. Then case S, this is going to be a function called push buffer. So storing text buffer to the push buffer. And case L, like load, this would be like the pull buffer. Okay, so let's draft these function names just to make sure it compiles still. So we also have the function cut line here, and we also have the function paste line, and the function to push buffer, and the function to pull buffer. So let's make sure it still compiles and runs. Yeah, great. So here, so copy line is now okay. We can actually test it. Yes, right. Quit. So now if I say C, you see this copy appears, which means that at very least something has been added to the copy buffer. So we don't know what is there yet because we didn't yet implement our paste line function, but we now implement it and see what is there. So let's go for paste line. Yeah, cut line is not ready yet there, but yeah, let's go for a paste line here. So we want to say if the length of the copy buffer is equal to 0, we want to increment the current row and set the current column equals to 0. Then we want to create a new text buffer variable. And we want to make some memory for it. So slice of slices of runes and the length of the text buffer plus 1 because we are appending one line when we're pasting anyway. Now let's populate the new text buffer with text buffer sliced from the beginning and up to the current row. Yeah, obviously here as well, like from the beginning and up to the current row. Then the new text buffer indexed by the current row is going to be equal whatever is available within the copy buffer. So this is very similar to what we've been doing with our insert line when we have been handling enter key press. It's a very similar thing. And then to populate the rest of the new text buffer, so the new text buffer sliced from the current row and up to the very end with a text buffer sliced by the current row plus 1 because yeah, we just added one line here, and up to the very end of whatever is available in the text buffer. And finally we point the text buffer to the new text buffer. Alright, now let's test it. So by default the copy buffer is empty, so it should literally just be okay, hold on a sec, it's deleting. No, it's not what it's supposed to be doing. Sorry guys, I just messed up with obviously like this, new text buffer plus 1. Yeah, because we're adding this to the new text buffer, not to the original text buffer. So right quit. And now we should essentially paste the empty line. Yes, which it does exactly the way. So because it's empty, literally, so just paste the empty one. Then you can do something, quit. Okay, and also, yeah, so I forgot to test copy. So let's say copy this buff.io line and let's say paste it, paste. Yeah, this is exactly the behavior I was looking for. So just paste whatever line we have copied to the copy buffer. So this indicates that the copy buffer is not empty. Okay, and now we can implement the cut line. So the first thing to do when we are cutting the line is to actually copy the existing line to the copy buffer, and then we can say if current row is greater or equals than the length of the text buffer, or the length of the text buffer is less than 2, we want to return. So these are the edge cases. So if less than 2 lines has left in the text buffer, we do not want to cut line. And if the current row is greater or equals than the length of the text buffer, then there was result in error, so we just return in those cases as well. And now again we create our new text buffer, and this is going to be equal to, so we want to make some memory for it. So slices of runes and the length of the text buffer -1 because we are cutting exactly one line here. So populating the new text buffer sliced from the beginning and up to where the current row is, with the content of the text buffer sliced exactly the same way, current row. And then want to copy the new text buffer sliced from the current row and up to the very end by whatever we have in the text buffer, sliced by the current row plus 1 and up to the very end. And pointing the text buffer to the new text buffer. And if it happens that if the current row is greater than 0, so if it's not the very first line, in this case we want to say current row minus minus decremented and current column is equal to 0. So this combination of manipulating the cursor position within the cut line and the paste line allows quite useful easy replacement of two lines. So let me quickly demonstrate with that as well. So build and run. Okay, so for instance I want to change these two, so change the order, so I just say delete and paste, and you see like I've just changed the order of these two lines, so this is quite cool. And again I just delete this line and I can just paste, or if I want to delete, I delete the following way. So if I did delete really everything here, and I would delete until it's allowed to, but when the file gets to the end, it's no longer deleting the very last line. So hopefully it makes sense. Okay, so now the functions push buffer and pull buffer to sort of implement the undo redo functionality. These ones are really simple here. So for the push buffer, I can simply say copy undo buffer, so creating a variable, making some memory for it. So this is going to be the type of slice of slices of runes with the length of the text buffer, so literally preserving the text, the entire text buffer, and then simply populating the copy undo buffer with the text buffer. No slides in here because we're dealing with the entire an entire text buffer. And now we simply point undo buffer, which is a global variable, to our copy undo buffer. And then to pull it back, I can say if the length of the undo buffer is going to be equal to 0, so there is nothing to pull, so we simply return, and otherwise we simply point the text buffer to the undo buffer. Simple as that. So let's quickly test this as well. So let's say I say s, so undo buffer has been populated with whatever content we have within the text buffer. And now if I just say delete everything, yeah, well maybe not everything, but well maybe everything. So I made some changes, I made a whole lot of changes, but then suddenly I say okay, I just want to restore it back, and I say L, and yes, my entire source file has been restored like this. Okay guys, so now let's quickly test this on Windows and we're done for this tutorial. So I say wine task mgr, file new task command line, and here I say ego.executable e.go. Okay, so empty copy buffer paste should just result in pasting some lines. Okay, delete also works, copy and paste this one, delete, say delete this one and paste this one. Okay, works. Now let's say push this to the undo buffer, then go delete everything here. Yeah, lots of code already. And then L to load, and yeah, we have the entire source code being restored here. So yeah guys, this is it from my side. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.